everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of Brawling Pit, where we talk everything about Brawl, a standard legal commander format. I am one of your hosts, Johnathan Tang. Joining me on the line is Jacob.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Alright.
Just all right?
Yeah.
Why's that?
I guess I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing pretty good because you know our topic today is amazing?
No. Well, once again, I don't even know what the topic is. What is the topic?
The topic we have today is a very important topic. We're talking about rotations. Rotation is something that...
Like in League of Legends, when you rotate your top lane down the middle and middle lane goes down to help with bottom and with the dragon fight?
No.
Oh, like Beyblade?
No.
Oh, I got nothing.
Rotation is a thing that used to only apply to standard when a set of cards are no
like when you
longer
tap
being legal.
It's like when you tap your lands, you rotate them to the side approximately 90 degrees.
No, it's when new sets are being released and when the standard format is telling people that we are only allowed to play these cards and the older sets are no longer allowed in the format. And so when they're being pushed out of the format, that's when we say the cards are being rotated out. And lo and behold, because Brawl is a standard format, we are also affected by rotation. This is, about time where you should start doing something about rotations because the guilds of Ravnica...
Or don't.
Well, yeah, we're not cops. So
well,
you can do whatever you want.
I am. I actually just passed my exam to be a policeman.
Okay.
Yep, I passed the physical exam and the written exam, so I start duty in about a month.
Either way, Ravnica drops October 5th, 2018, and that's when the older sets will be officially rotated out. Those sets are Kaladesh, Ether Revolt, Amonkhet, Welcome Deck 2017, and Hours of Devastation. So the cards that are printed in those sets, they're not reprinted in a standard legal set, will no longer be playable in the upcoming standard/brawl format.
And just
starting October 5th.
And just to expand slightly on that for clarity, let's say a card is printed in Kaladesh, but it also just got printed in M19. Now, it'll still be legal for as long as M19 is in standard because it got reprinted.
Right. And it doesn't matter what set symbol your card is. So, for example, you can be playing your Alpha Shiva Dragon because Shivan Dragon has been printed in M19. So go ahead and bring your alpha cards.
Right. I remember when Shocklands were last declared. Fingers crossed they're coming back in Ravnica. That'd be awesome. But I remember in Return to Ravnica when Shocklands were reprinted and we got new art, new fantasy set symbols, etc. Some of the cooler kids in my LGS, they had the OG Shocklands, and I'm like, what are those? I couldn't tell what they are. I had to actually look at the name, like, oh, I don't recognize that art. I mean, now I do, but at the time I wasn't aware. And
you know what's crazy? Like I was playing Modern once, and someone's pointed at Reliquary Tower because I had the commander set symbol, and he's like, "Is that Modern illegal?"
In EDH?
That was just sad. Modern.
Modern. Right.
I was playing a deck called Treasure Hunt.
Oh, dude, that deck is awesome. You know, I like to play. Here's my spicy deck. This is a never before seen or talked about deck ever, unless you know me personally. So this is just for you. This is an exclusive deck tech on the Brawling Pit cast. Okay.
Sure.
Are you ready?
It resolves.
But I mean, I'm trying to build suspense here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this is a deck I like to call the Thousand Island Dressing Special.
Oh my
Modern.
gosh.
Okay, so this deck costs about $105. All right, this is a modern $105 deck. All right, now that might seem like a pretty low cost for modern, given that burn is like $500 to $1,000, Jund is about $1,000 or whatever, depending on what you pay. But this is a $105 deck. All right, so You play 1,000 islands. That's why it's called 1,000 Island Dressing Deck. And 4 copies of Battle of Wits. Now, Battle of Wits is a 5-minute enchantment. It costs 3 blue. And it says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 250 or more cards in your library, you win the game. Alright? Now, the reason why this card or this deck costs $105 is not because Treasure Hunt, or excuse me, not because Battle of Wits is an expensive card. No, it's a bulk rare. It's because when you buy sleeves, it'll be approximately $100 for your 1,000 sleeves.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that each island has to be a different art.
Oh, no, it's actually the sleeves.
I see. That makes sense.
Yes. So, your $105 modern deck, the bulk of it is in your sleeves.
Got it. How
Yep.
often do you win with this deck? What's the win rate?
I've played it about 20 or 30 times, and I won once. I mean, the fact that I even won once, I mean, come on. Oh, it was in person too. Don't think I like skipped out and like played it on Mitgo or something. No. I shuffled those 1,000 cards.
Do you mulligan for Battle of Wits?
Oh, you hard mulligan. So my opponent had to sit there and watch me mulligan and shuffle and shuffle and shuffle. Cause like it's you're not gonna get. All right, here's the thing. You're not gonna even if you mulligan to 1 to find your Battle of Wits, which even then you're probably not gonna find it. Let's say you mulligan to 1 and you find your Battle of Wits. You are statistically not likely to ever find another copy of Battle of Wits. So just mulligan to 1 anyway, and you're gonna draw running lands.
Yep.
So
Congrats.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. That was the happiest day of my life. I won with the 1,000 Island Dressing deck.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why is it called dressing?
Cause like the 1,000 Island Dressing that you put on your salad.
No, I get it, but what other reason are there?
No, that's it. Nothing. Like, well, because if it didn't have the if I weren't relating it back to like the salad dressing, then it's the meaning of the meme is just not there.
Got it.
Yep.
Anyways, coming back from this tangents.
No wait, that is your Brawling Pit exclusive deck tech.
Yep.
You know,
but
share it.
Back to you.
This is that was the official hype. And I think that's enough content for the rest of this. So you want to start the sign off?
Oh my gosh. Coming back from this huge tangent. The sets that will be rotating out are Kaladesh, Ether Revolt, Amonkhet, Welcome Deck 2017, and Hours of Devastation. We already talked about that if a card that's printed in this set is being reprinted, you can play it. But what we are trying to figure out is, well, what decks do we think that are currently in existence will become good? That's not good already, or what good decks will be slightly worse? What are the decks out there that you can still play after rotation happens? And this is purely speculation.
We're not fortune tellers. We don't have a
We're
crystal
not
ball.
fortune tellers,
We're just giving our best educated opinion on the topic.
It's purely an educated guess. No
Yes.
science. No science behind this episode.
Right. So not only do you need to take this with a grain of salt, you might want to like stop by a fast food place and pick up a few packets too to go with it.
Right.
Well, you know what sucks actually? Some of the fast food places, they stopped like having the salt package like out. You have to like ask for them now.
I don't know what to say to that.
Well, I mean, it sucks for me because like before a Grand Prix, I'll like grab a few extra salt packets, right?
Oh
and then at Grand Prix, I don't do this to random people. That's just kind of rude. But with my friends, when I see them lose or whatever, I'll hand them like a salt packet. I have them on hand specifically for that.
Nice.
Yep.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. It was such a good meme. Yeah, but it sucks because now like some restaurants, if I'm like in a hurry to get to the Grand Prix or whatever, like maybe I'm running late or something, I don't know. I can't just like stop anywhere. I have to like go in and hope that they have some. And if they don't, like, well, crap. I hope there's like a Taco Bell or something across the street or like in the same parking lot, and I can just head in there. But what if I low roll on both? Well, I think I'm just screwed, right? Maybe it's a sign.
Yep. Anyways. So, wow. I don't know what to say.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you can back me up on that one.
I mean, I know it's a meme. Like, I know you buy boxes of salt to hand them out. But anyways, okay. So decks that will be good after rotation. Guess number one, we think Bodrotha will be a good deck.
So the reasoning with Muldrotha is like Muldrotha isn't hard to synergize well with.
First of all,
What?
we want to stress that we think Bodrotha is an alright tier 2 deck right now. We talked
Yeah.
about that before.
Yeah.
But
And we're not saying by any means that Muldrotha will be like the powerhouse, like A plus 10 out of 10 deck after rotation. That's not what we're saying.
right, we're also not dissing Bodrotha right now and saying that it is bad at the moment.
Yeah.
It is bad because everyone has graveyard hates.
But if you're playing in a meta that's light on the graveyard hate, that might be a good pick for Muldrotha.
Right.
And even with the graveyard hate, even if you like misread the meta or whatever, or maybe you like brought the wrong deck by mistake, you're in a hurry to get to your LGS and you grab the wrong deck box, like whatever. Muldrotha isn't even that bad. You're in Bug. Bug is not that bad. There are worse color combinations to be in if you accidentally grab the wrong deck. So it's like with Muldrotha, he's really easy to have like a solid deck. I'm not gonna say great. I'm not gonna say bad. He's a little better than mediocre. He's just solid. Easy to make a solid deck with him. If you just play like regular Bug, Bug good stuff, mid range ish, Muldrotha will be solid.
Yeah, you have the ramp, you have the removal, you have the counter spells. What else do you need?
Yep, and it's like so. I guess the point is that it's hard to be bad with Muldrotha. Is the point. And
the floor of the deck is really good, and Jacob always says in a rotation situation when people are trying to find a new deck, find a new hype, the high floor decks generally perform really well.
Yeah, because it's not a stable environment. People are trying out new stuff. They're not the list will not be optimized. People will not play as optimized. Decks are going to be kind of all over the place. And for me as a brewer, that's one of the most fun metas to me, honestly.
Yeah,
but I also have
heaven.
It is. I love it. But also in the from a competitive standpoint, if your goal is to just win, maybe you have a really competitive Brawling going on, and it's going to happen through rotation. Maybe half it will be pre-rotation, half it will be build. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do, by the way. But maybe that's what's happening. If your goal is just to do that and win as many weeks as possible, or whatever your situation is, maybe you're just a spike at all times. You'll pick up a lot of free wins just because other people's decks are not finely tuned as they will be in the coming weeks after rotation.
Yeah.
So, other decks that are going to be good or decent-ish. I think both Nicol Boluses will be good.
Oh, you mean all three of them, or just the two of them, but not the eight mana one?
Yeah, same, dude.
Same.
Same.
I mean, yeah. We have talked about this plenty of times where the Grixis charts is very, very powerful color combination.
Right.
Just like the Soul Tie that we talked about.
Yep.
Grixis, it has the burns, it has the removals, it has the counter spells. It is
yep.
a little bit weak in the ramp arena, but with Nicol Bolas, you're probably fast enough that you don't need the ramp. I mean, at least the 4-drop one. If you're playing the 7-drop one, well, then why are you not playing the 4-drop one?
I don't know. Can't. Beats me. Actually, the what is it? The stifle counter spells are rotating out.
They are being rotated out, which means
both of them.
Both of them, both the bird and disallow. Yeah, they're both being rotated out, which means, well, if you have a commander that is also a planeswalker, now your ults are not going to be countered as much. Not to say that, I mean, I don't remember the last time I ulted in any planeswalker in a Brawl format. Never happened.
Yeah, it's flavor text.
Yeah, people are really good at keeping track of. Oh, hey, look that way. He's about to ult the commander, and then they will start teaming up at you. So it's a thing.
And Nicol Bolas' planeswalker abilities on his flip side, the 4-mana creature dude. His flip side, those are some good abilities. And
those are some great abilities.
he'll be shut down really quick. Even if you can protect him, I don't think you'll get very far with him.
Yeah.
Just because of the nature of what happens on the table.
Still think he's much better as a 4/4. But what if the game goes long? Maybe the 4/4 is no longer good enough.
Yeah, or maybe like someone's blocked up the air or something. Another deck I think that has potential is Kumina. Like Kumina's Merfolk support, I think for the most part stays in. And
yeah, it's a very stable deck.
Not only do you have the upside of maintaining like a decent main board, and like you'll have to swap out some cards, sure, but you also have the benefit of being aggressive, and aggressive decks really, really punish people for stumbling. So it's like a double whammy there. I think if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Kumina is probably going to be the best deck rotation, like for like the first week or so maybe. But we'll have to see. Also, that opinion is also subject to change as we see more and more spoilers from Ravnica.
Right, which won't happen for a while. Slimefoot is another deck that we think will be really good after rotation. It has a very, very high floor. The cards in that deck, again, are not being rotated out. Not that many of them anyways. Most of the set rolling cards are being contained in the Ixalan block and Dominaria as well as M19. Yeah, I think most of them are, staying. Most of the core cards.
Actually, one thing that I don't think will be that super hot will be Jorah. I'm not saying, now once again, we're not saying Jorah will definitely be bad, but it's not looking so great because I think like half of the artifacts that Jorah plays are rotating out.
Yeah, with the rotation of the Kaladesh block, a lot of the artifact combo decks will be gone. All the vehicle decks will be gone.
They might come back. We don't know.
Yeah, they might come back,
but it's not looking good.
Yeah, sadly.
You know what? Speaking of artifacts, Metallic Mimic is rotating out.
And because of that, it feels like some of the tribal decks will feel a hit. Even though it may not be a huge hit. So, for example, the Kumina Merfolk deck should still be good. But Metallic Mimic,
like it's only one card, right?
Yeah, it's only one
Metallic
card.
Mimic in those tribal decks is really good. Also something that all the green decks will feel. So I need to be careful how I word this. The mana dorks that are under 3 CMC, so 2 or less, 2 of them are rotating out, which leave you only 2 more.
Yeah, the only ones that are remaining are Drew of the Cowl and Llanowar Elves.
And, I'm sure we'll see some more. I'm sure some will get printed, but maybe not. Maybe not. Like, I think there was a bit in recent standard history where, like, there are only 2 mana dorks that were 2 CMC or less, and the rest were, like, 3 or 4, and those are terrible, right? But, like, it happened. It happened. So, I think we'll get more support, but maybe not, But either way, green decks will definitely feel... Like, the floor is a little lower, because now you can't just go, like, double 2-drop or whatever. Now you can only go 1. And you won't see your mana dorks as often either. So the consistency is a little worsened.
Yeah, and another speculation is that because Ravnica is a 2-color format, the odds that the mana dorks will be monocolored is a little bit low.
Dude, I'm a little nervous now.
Yeah, I mean, you might still see your red-green mana dork in whenever the rule set comes out, right?
Wait, hold on. Now, with Ravnica, are they going to be doing all 10 guilds? Or are they going to split them up 5 and 5 again? Or what's going on?
No, so there will be 3 separate sets, and there are 3 separate blocks.
So 3, 3, 4?
And I don't remember, but it's something like that.
Dude, what if they don't, like, put red-green first? Then everything would...
then whatever. There are still those untapped target land guys. Those are still in there. We consider those mana dorks as well. So yeah, you should be okay, but you're losing some of them.
And to some degree, like this is a healthy process. Standard needs a reset button every once in a while, and that's what kept Magic from like power creeping, like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right, and when rotation happens, this is your chance to innovate. This is your chance to start brewing the next good deck. your chance to experiment with the new cards that are being released or cards that you don't have a chance to play with yet because they were not viable.
Yeah, and I've definitely touched on this before, but like, there's a couple ways that you can look at this. You could look at this way at this rotation and say, "Oh crap, my deck is rotating, or at least the core part of my deck is rotating, and this sucks. I don't have a deck, and I hate rotation." Or you can look at this as an opportunity to play around with stuff that might not be necessary in an optimized meta. That's what I like.
Yeah. You know what else is rotating?
What?
Combat Celebrant. So
Oh.
you don't need to live in fear of the infinite combo anymore because Combat Celebrant and Helm of the Host, only one of them are staying as the Helm, the best commander in Brawl format.
The commander that isn't a creature that plays Walker.
I am just happy that I have pulled that combo off once. I can say that I'm one of the few people who have done it without being interrupted. So it was a great experience.
I'm jealous. I've never actually been able to pull that off. Dude, I think I want to pull off like a Nicol Bolas Helm of the Host thing.
Oh my gosh, man.
It's
I
not
don't.
that high value, but
No, it's just a 4/4 flyer.
eh. But having two 4/4 flyers is pretty good.
You mean like 3/4 flyers? Anyways, with rotation, right? So what do you do? Like a lot of times, rotation may not impact you that much because, well, you just need to replace like one or two or like five cards in your deck, right? But what do you do if your commander is rotating? That's a big deal. Like you literally can't play that deck anymore. Like if you were playing Scarab God, what do? You can't do anything. If you're playing Temet, well, you don't have that deck anymore.
Yeah, and
So
also, like if your deck is kind of meta dependent, then this is a time where you're also very vulnerable. Like if the meta shifts to a point where your commander like just isn't competitively viable anymore, and you care about winning to some degree, then this can also happen even if your commander isn't rotating. Like let's say with Muldrotha, right? In Ravnica, let's say they print like a million graveyard hate cards. Like let's say they print Siege Rhino again, but then they tacked on like exile all graveyards, right? Like what if they just said, okay, 4 mana, 4/5, trample life or not life trample, and when it enters the battlefield, drain 3 and exile all grave, like just because Siege Rhino wasn't good enough, right? Let's say they made that new Siege Rhino. Then your deck could just get pushed out even if it's not rotated.
you know the 4-drop that drains 3 life in Hearthstone was only a 3/3.
It also doesn't have trample.
Well, is trample a thing in Hearthstone?
It could be like it could just be like deal. It could be like Yu-Gi-Oh mechanic. Like it could be like after combat, if this minion had excess power over the defending minion's power, like deal the rest to the owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, so what can you do if your commander is being rotated out? So this is kind of a teaser for a future episode. We're going to talk about how to upgrade your Brawl deck into a commander deck in one future episode. May or may not be next week. You should subscribe to all our social medias if you want to find out.
What if he's lying? What if you're actually lying and we're never going to talk about that ever again?
Well, now that he said that, we will definitely talk about it.
There you go. I'm helping you guys out. That was the mind game for the audit. That was it right there. Insurance.
There we go. There we go. But what else can you do like other than upgrading to your commander? I mean, some people may not have the cards to go into commander, or some people may not have the financial resources. So what can you do?
Besides literally leaving Brawl and transitioning into an internal format commander, you could like switch commanders.
Right. This may be a hard thing to pull off if your entire deck is literally built around your commander. So, for example, Hapatra is a very good example. Literally, your entire deck needs to care about -1/-1 for -1/-1. Actually, it may be a bad example because
It's
all the
like,
-1/-1s are in Amonkhet.
and it's not even that cryptic of advice, you know? Like, how obvious is that? It's like, well, just switch commanders. But
Well, but
It's not.
it,
It's
it
not
it
that.
may not be an easy thing, right?
No,
So, for
yeah, yeah.
example,
It's not
it
that. It's not that it's hard to figure out. Oh yeah, I need to switch commanders. It's more of like it might be a tough pill to swallow. You know.
yeah, I mean, if you're playing Tezzeret the schemer, you're obviously doing like artifact shenanigans. But with Tezzeret rotated out, you don't really have a new commander to replace him because they just do completely different things, right? The only blue black commander that will remain in format is Rona, and it doesn't have anything to do with artifacts other than the fact that it can excel and cast it again.
So, is there anything else that you could do if your commander's leaving or pushed out by the meta?
So in those situations, we recommend
Like you, well, hold on before we get into what I just said. So like, if you're switching commanders, hopefully you're able to put together another deck. If you can't,
right.
well, I guess you just can't play Brawl. And I hate to be the one to say it, and but I don't think there's any others. Or you can borrow a deck, but like, if you can't do that, then I guess you're just not playing Brawl, until you get
Well,
another deck
the thing
together.
is, it doesn't have to be that way, right? Because what do you have if you no longer have a deck? Well, now you have a bunch of cards that you probably don't need anymore. This is when rotation happens. This is the time to start moving those cards and trading them into better value. And this is the next thing we'll talk about.
Yeah, and I want to preface this with saying this is not like super amazing financial advice. We are not MTG Goldfish. We're not, those big retail. This is just what's worked for us. This is what we usually do. We're not saying it's best. We're not saying it's optimal. This is what we found success with. Your mileage may vary. Okay, that's the only disclaimer. It.
Right. Also, before we talk about trading, I want to stress that when don't be the guy to try to squeeze value out of a trade. You want to trade, necessarily trade up or trade down when you're working with someone. If someone doesn't want to trade with you, don't pressure them. If you don't want to trade with someone, tell them no.
Yeah, don't be. Yeah, also, on that same note, don't be pressured to trade with somebody. If you
Right.
don't like the offer that they're throwing at you, if you feel like kind of uncomfortable with the offer, and like offer back or like don't trade. You're not just because you open up your bind, like just because both of you opened up your binders and you pulled a few cards out doesn't mean you're obligated to finalize the trade. You can just say no, I don't feel like trading, and just like walk away. Walking away is very powerful.
Yeah. But with the disclaimer said,
Yeah. Usually, I like to. It's hard, because I used to be a big competitive grinder, so often that meant I had to keep my cards like way past what I thought to be like the optimal time to dump. But what I did was I kind of like honed in on like one or two decks around when the summer set came out. So like M19 a couple weeks ago. I like honed in on like one or two standard decks that I liked, like I thought would be like good enough to carry me through the rest of the season, and I traded or sold everything that wasn't those decks. And some people will tell you July is too late. Some people will say July is early. Everybody has an opinion on this thing. So that's the other thing is that, you you the listener might even have a different opinion on this matter. You might even be like, this guy is like retarded. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Once again, this is just what I did. I found some success with it. You might not. So around July, around now is when I kind of start trying to sell or trade away what I'm doing. And I would always be willing to. It depends on what you're trading to. This is like hashtag trading advice, and I'm not like I did a lot of trading, a lot of trading. So I'm not going to go into every single thing. I'm just going to try and stick to what's relevant to this topic, moving into internal formats. So
sure.
when you have cards that are currently standard legal, but they're not going to be standard legal for very long, i.e., e.g. rotating, in the coming months, I would, in addition to taking into account the TCG prices, which is what I would recommend you do, but some people do SCG. I don't know why you would. That's just my deal. I would always be okay with taking a slight loss on my side, trading stuff that was rotating into already established, eternal staples, and maybe the same philosophy, but maybe like less of a margin on stuff that's not rotating, but still like only a standard staple, not like a modern staple.
So, how do you identify those staples? How do you look at a card and say, "Oh, this is gonna be playable"?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody has the crystal ball answer. It's more of like my process was just if the card is already being played as a staple, then it's a staple in modern. Like that is something that you could like I don't trying to be careful and not say objectively answer, but like you could like sort of somewhat like objectively answer this. I'm using that term very loosely as I just mentioned. So an example of that is lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. I don't think anybody would argue the point that lightning bolt is a modern staple. Like maybe some people would argue it's a legacy staple, but definitely a modern staple. And and you would just look at the modern format and say, well, yeah, lightning bolt is a legacy. Lightning bolt is a modern staple. So you would consider that a modern staple. And if I were trading my standard but rotating cards that weren't a modern staple yet at the time, and I didn't think it had potential, I would take a little bit of a loss trading into something, say like lightning bolts. And same process for standard. If there's a card that's not rotating, but it is currently a staple, I would say, I'll take a little bit of a hit there because your cards will just keep going down and down and down if they're not going to transition well into the eternal formats. That's just a fact.
Right. But one way I would identify whether a card is modern or eternal staples, um, look at deck lists, and a lot of times, if a card is that's rotating out is playable in modern, it would already have a deck already. So one
Exactly.
example
And
is
oh, okay.
one example from Hours of Devastation, a card called Hollow One. There's literally a deck called Hollow One, and that is a modern stable.
And one tool that you can use to your advantage here, which is super useful, is MTG Goldfish. And what you can do is you can look up individual cards, and you can see the recent decks that these cards have been used in. So just look for these cards and look through the Tornado formats list. If you see a bunch of decks, like good decks, not just like fringe decks, like good decks, and you see this card consistently showing up, then there's a ton of potential for that card to be a staple if it's not already regarded as one.
Right. And you can also look at cards and say, try to see whether or not they are actually playable in older formats. A lot of times, trust your gut feeling, right? If a card is good, like Scarab God, you're going to be able to, find a home for it in older formats.
But if
Scarab God is probably modern playable.
but also sometimes don't trust your gut feeling if you're not that good at card judgment.
Sure,
I have the biggest grin on my face when I'm saying that.
sure, I'm fine with that. Also, one thing to pay attention to:
Know your weaknesses.
lands are generally they will hold on to their value.
Well,
fact-
I'd be careful with that. Lands will generally. I'm gonna just to just to be very clear. Lands will generally hold some value. Just to avoid the saying an absolute. You know.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, like lands will generally hold some value. It's like once again, this kind of goes back to like card evaluation, right? Like if the card isn't like that good, like the dual lands, if the lands that got printed that are rotating, if they're like not that good, they won't. Well, they will likely not retain their original value, like their peak or higher values as they were in
Right.
standard. But they'll hold some value.
I think I need to make a correction. Lands that comes into play untapped generally hold on to their value.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So what you want to keep you might want to keep those fast lands that came out in Kaladesh.
Yeah.
But the cycle lens in Amonkhet, you might want to start getting rid of it right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, unless you're playing with them. If you're playing with them and you need them, yeah, that's more of a debate that only you can answer. We can't tell you that.
If you know you're gonna still be using them in Commander or whatnot,
and you're having fun with them, then maybe that's something you don't want to sell. You can. We're not cops.
Yeah,
But
we're definitely not cops.
definitely, definitely not cops. But yeah, you just want to think a little harder on those. High power level cards are once. This is all subject to being correct or incorrect based on your own evaluation, right? Like the pros. This is such a tough topic. Like if a pro says this card is really good, that automatically gives it a value. I'm trying so hard to not like step into the nitty gritty of like trading advice and NTG finance. It's such a terrible topic. I don't want to talk about it.
Sure, we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're just saying try to find the cards that you think you should get rid of right now.
And get
and
rid
try
of them.
to find the cards that you want to keep.
Yeah.
And get rid of the ones that you want to get rid of. And try to trade them into the things that you think you will play with. Another thing you can do, when your decks are rotating out, like what else can you do when rotation happens, right?
Cry.
And you still want to play, other than crying, you can just build a rotation free deck.
Hey, I have a rotation proof deck. All right.
You have a rotation proof deck?
I do. You play so you play 59 islands and Muldrotha. There you go.
You can't even cast Muldrotha.
I don't give it. So you just asked for a rotation proof deck. That's a legal
Okay.
deck and it survives rotation.
You're right. It is. But I have a better one for you.
Okay. One
How
with a
about-
slightly higher win rate potentially.
Probably higher than the 59 island deck.
Hey man, I like islands.
I
Okay?
recommend playing Aryel, Knights of Windgrace as your commander. And
I
play
hate
the
knights.
Knight deck.
Can you
Why
stop
do you
being such
hate
a knight?
knights?
Can you stop being such a white knight, please?
The Knight deck is actually good.
I see you in St. Peach's Twitch chat all the time.
It's a good aggro deck. It can generate enough tokens and get you there. You can go under some control decks, some of the slower decks.
What if you feel like
And
going over? I'll be in St. Peach's chat from now on. You may not know this, but I actually do watch her streams after years are over, and I've been a 6-month subscriber as well. I donated to her $30 the other day and said her outfit looked cute. She said I'm a sweetheart. Things are looking up for me and down for you. This is where I bid farewell to you.
So let's talk about some of the key cards in this deck.
I hate you.
Obviously, Aryel. Well, actually, let's read the commander first.
I'm joining the command zone. I hate you.
Aryel, Knights of Windgrace is 2 white/black for a legendary creature. Human Knight is a 4/4 with Vigilance. 2 and a white tap creates a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance. You also do black tap X untap knights you control. Destroy target creature with power X or less. So the good thing about this card is you can attack with it, and you can still tap it later on. You know, hopefully on your opponent's tap. Hopefully on your opponent's turn. This is a very powerful card. It creates a lot of tokens.
It passes the vanilla test.
It does pass the vanilla test. But what else is good when you're making tokens? How about Anthem effects? We're running Banalish Marshal.
We're playing a ton of Anthem effects.
You're playing a ton of them. So one of them is
a ton of them.
Banalish Marshal. White for a 3/3 human knight creature. It just says other creatures you control gets +1/+1. Very, very powerful.
It's pretty hard to cast, honestly, even in this 2-color deck.
It's probably easy enough, but if you think that's hard to cast, here's one that's maybe easier. The Immortal Sun is 6 color. Actually, I'm not gonna read that.
Yeah, we know. Everybody knows what Immortal Sun does, dude. This deck's playing Immortal Sun. It does everything that this deck needs. It's card draw, it's palm, it's discount. Like, I hate how many decks Immortal Sun just goes into. Just auto include.
Yep, auto include this deck definitely.
It also plays Vanquish's Banner.
Also plays Vanquish's Banner.
On a less commonly played deck card, but probably not as good as Immortal Sun, but still pretty good.
Sure. It's 5 mana for an artifact that says when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type gets +1/+1. And whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card.
So what creature type do you pick here?
I think most of the time you want to pick Knight.
But what if you feel like picking Vampire?
I can see Vampire being right as well, but
sometimes. Maybe not all the time.
Not all the time.
And it depends on what's going on.
Another Anthem effect, this is a little bit cheaper. 2 and a white for an enchantment called Radiant Destiny. It has Ascend, so if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. Now, as Radiant Destiny enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. So this is not even an ETB trigger. This is this happens at the same time of ETB, so technically this matters. Creatures you control of the chosen type gets +1/+1. As long as you have the City's Blessing, they also have Vigilance.
So yeah, and that's kind of like a technical
it
rule.
matters. Yeah, it
because,
matters because if you have a 3/3 on the battlefield and they have a lightning
yes,
strike.
if they want to kill that 3/3, they need to respond before Radiant Destiny actually resolves. Once Radiant Destiny resolves, nobody has priority. Like you have to pick your creature type. So
Right.
they can't like wait for you to say night and it's like okay, respond, shoot it. Like that, and it just doesn't happen. They don't have priority. It's not even legal. Like even if you want to like kind of like rules lawyer them out, like you'd have a hard time with that. Cause like, well, they didn't even have priority. You just resolve something and it's your turn. But like, just don't get screwed out of that. I know when I was a newer player, I sometimes got screwed out of that because I didn't know. But now I know. Don't get screwed out of that.
Yeah.
And
So
likewise, if you're playing against this, don't get screwed by letting Radiant Destiny resolve if you want to kill something.
definitely don't get screwed. Another anthem effect we have is Valiant Knight. It's 3 and a white for a 3/4 human knight. It's newly printed M19. Other knights you control gets +1/+1, and you can also do 3 white. You can also pay 3 white to give knights you control double strike until end of turn. This is a game ender.
Hey, you want to know another card that's kind of an anthem?
What is it?
I say kind of, is
Yeah, go
History of
for it.
Benalia.
History of Benalia is 1 white for a saga. Chapter 1 and 2 creates 2/2 white knight creature tokens. Oh, chapter 3 is pretty busted in this deck. Because knights you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn. And guess how many knights we have in this deck? Let's just say a lot.
Hey, you know what? Actually, I want to do something.
What do you want to do?
Okay, so you know those competitions, not competitions, like, you know how sometimes you'll go to, like, the doctor's office or whatever, or, like, some restaurant or whatever, and, like, on the counter it'll be like, guess how many jelly beans are in this jar or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do that with this deck. Let's guess how many knights there are. Don't look at the deck. And and to be very specific, we're only going to count, we'll count all the cards that either generate knights or have the knight creature type.
Sure. We'll reveal the answer.
Yeah, play along, but no cheating.
Along.
I mean, like, this is the honor rule. Just don't cheat. Like, you could go in and count, but like, okay, where's the fun?
Yeah. So at the end of the episode, you can click on our tapped out link for the deck tag, and you'll be able to find out whether or not you're right or not.
Yeah. So, what's your guess?
I guess it's like 500.
But we have to pick a bounded number between 0 and 59.
Oh, why can't there be 60?
I might be. You have to pick a bounded number between 0 and 60. Like, okay, sure.
Choose
Your number.
60.
All right. No, too late. You already locked in 500. You suck.
All right, fine. So Arthur the Curse is 3 white/black for a 3/3 vampire knight legendary creature of death touch and lifelink. Other legendary creatures you control gets +2/+2. Well, why are we running him? Because there are actually plenty of other legendary creatures in the deck. A lot of knights are legendary, apparently.
On that legendary note, we are playing Primeval's Glorious Rebirth, which pulls all legendary permanents from your graveyard back to the battlefield.
Right, which is pretty good. And you also need a legendary creature before you can cast that. So let's talk about some of them. The first one I want to talk about is Josufest Lich Knight. 2 black for 4/5 zombie knight. With Kicker, the Kicker cost is 5 black. It has Menace, and when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, you can create 8 2/2 zombie knight creature tokens with Menace. They're all knights, by the way. All 9 creature will be a knight. So if you actually time it right, you can cast it kicked when History of Benalia is at chapter 2, chapter 3, if your board is not wiped in miracle, it will be if there's a miracle and your board is not wiped, you can attack everyone for lethal, basically. Another really good card, Lena, Selfless Champion, 4 white for a 3/3 legendary creature human knight. When she enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each non-token creature you control. But you can also sacrifice her to give creatures you control with power less than her power indestructible until end of turn. The worst case scenario, she comes in and she will make 1/1 white soldier creature.
Which sucks.
The best case scenario, she makes like 1 million.
Like 1 million?
Like 1 million.
Oh,
it'll be
dude,
close to that.
That's a
number.
lot. Pretty close to 1 million, so like plus or minus like maybe 5%.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Another night we want to talk about, Volna, Butcher of Magan. 3 white black for a 4/4 vampire knight. She has vigilance and lifelink. You can also tap, pay 7 life to destroy target non-land permanents. Activate this ability only during your turn. Similarly to Aryel, you can attack with her and then tap her to destroy the target non-land permanents. A lot of times, those are more powerful stuff like a planeswalker. All for cheap cost of 7 life. You probably don't care about those 7 life because you actually have plenty of life gain effects in this deck. Twende, Pride of Famarath, 3 and a white for a 2/2 human knight with double strike that gives creatures you control with first strike, double strike.
wait, what if they have last strike though?
If they have last strike, they're not going to get double strike. Yeah, sadly. But there are plenty of knights with first strike. So for example, the Knight of Grace, the Knight of Malice. Another legend that we would need to talk about. 2 white black for 1/1 Vampire Knight legendary creature. She has lifelink. Oh, she's called Elenda the Dusk Rose. She has lifelink. Whenever another creature dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Elenda. When she dies, you create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is her power. Pretty good. Pretty powerful. But the most powerful, the most helpful of all the legends that we have, Danitha Capuchin Paragon. 2 and a white for 2/2 human knight with first strike, vigilance, lifelink. Of course, she's legendary. Auras and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. In fact, we have plenty of equipments and auras to go with her. On Sarah's Wings is 3 and a white for an aura that enchants a creature and gives the enchanted creature legendary +1/+1 flying, vigilance, and lifelink. Not only this enables your legendary sorceries, also makes it quite a powerful creature, quite a powerful force to reckon with.
Wow, dude, cool deck.
It's a cool deck, yeah.
You know, there's a land called New Benalia.
Not Brawl legal.
No. But there's a land called New Benalia, and it enters the battlefield tapped. And when it enters the battlefield tapped, you scry 1. And then you can tap to add a white. That's it. That's the end of the card.
Not Brawl legal.
No, it's not Brawl legal, but we do have a Benalia card in this very deck.
Yeah. We have History of Benalia. We already talked about it.
Well, we get to learn the history of this land. You know, there's actually a card called Knight of New Benalia as well. So it seems to me like Benalia is like this place where knights come from.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about some of the artifact equipments that will make your deck useful, or that will enable some of your endgame finishers.
Are we playing Hell with the Host?
We are not playing Half the Host. I don't know why.
We don't need it. It's not going in.
It. That's why.
No. It's too slow.
It is not only is it too slow, we don't have enough targets for it to be good. I mean, obviously we can equip it to our commanders and we will have a lot of people to tap with, but we don't have, it will be hard for us to pay for all the tapping cost.
Yeah.
The 200 whites, the blacks, quite expensive.
We're literally only playing like 22 lands, so kind of hard to get there. And plus, there's only 8 legendary creatures anyways, so
right. But even though we're only playing 22 lands, we're playing Black Blade Reforged. 2 mana for legendary equipment that gives equipped creature +1/+1 for each land you control. You can equip it to legendary creatures for 3 or non-legends for 7. It's a great card. If you equip it to Lena, it's hilarious when you sack Lena. If you give it to Elenda, well, when she dies, well, you got a lot of vampire tokens.
Literally
Blackblade,
1 million. You get
yeah.
1 million. I hope you have a dice that can represent 1 million
Right.
accurately.
Right. And hey, it only costs 1 if you have the Nitha out, so it's good, right? Another good equipment, Forebear's Blade. It's a 3 mana equipment. It equips for 3 mana. It gives equipped creature +3/+0, vigilance, and trample. Now, whenever equipped creature dies, attach Forebear's Blade to target creature in control. This is quite an interesting effect. It kind of screws over people who are trying to play target removal on your things.
I think that's good, man. Like, that's what we're just rattling off, like, just the whole deck.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Another good card synergizes with this deck really well. Sigil Sword of Valeron. 3 mana equipment that equips for 3. It gives your equipped creature +2/+0, vigilance, and the knight's creature type, which matters in this deck. Now, whenever equipped creature attacks, it creates a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance that's also attacking. That is busted in this deck.
There are a lot of, really good synergistic effects, but I mean, like, beyond those, you get to play Josu Vest. Like, I mean, basically we should all know what Josu Vest does. Like, beyond the fact that Josu Vest is a knight, literally no other synergy because it makes zombies, but it's just a
Well,
good
the
card.
zombies are also knights.
Oh, you're right. You're right. They are zombie knights. So Josu Best makes a bunch of zombie knights, but like you just get to play like some good aggro stuff.
Yeah, I like that deck.
I would definitely
I really like it.
I'm gonna try it out. This will
Yeah.
definitely be a deck that I will give a run. Maybe a short run, but I'll give a run after rotation hits.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Or even before. Or you can
No,
even try
not
it before.
before. I don't hate myself that much. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, but I think that's the episode. As always, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Brawling
Oh
Pit.
shoot, I wasn't rolling.
As always, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter on Brawling Pit. You can email us at brawlingpitmtg@gmail.com. Or you can find us on brawlingpit.com. You can also now find us on YouTube. Yes, we're back on it.
For some
Just
reason.
search Brawling Pit and you will be able to find us.
Well, actually, it depends on your search history, because like Google and YouTube, like
Yeah.
personalize your search. Yeah, okay.
But
You get the idea.
You can find us in those places. Subscribe, stay tuned, and we'll see if next week we'll talk about
Stuff.
Yep. See you guys next week.
So, there's a new card out, man. It's a land, but it's also a creature.
Okay, so it's like a dry arbor.
You know what? Yes, but no. No, it's actually called Eric's. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Eric's Methy's Slumbering Isle. It costs 2 green blue for legendary Kraken. 12/12.
Okay. Well, I think it
12/12,
passes the vanilla test.
Yes, definitely passes the vanilla test. Now, you might be wondering, well, what's the downside? Okay. So, it enters the battlefield tapped with 5 slumber counters on it.
Okay.
Okay. And as long as it has a slumber counter on it, it's a land.
Okay.
So there's also a reminder text. It's also not a creature when it's a land.
Okay.
And whenever you cast a spell, you can remove 1 slumber counter from Eric's Methy's.
Okay.
And it also has the ability tap, add green, blue.
Okay.
So, what do you think happens when this card comes into play when there's already a Blood Moon in play?
I would recommend don't play this card when there's a blood moon in play. But it becomes a mountain.
Okay.
And when
That's
you
it?
cast a spell,
Uh-huh.
you don't remove those counters.
Okay.
Yeah, because when it enters the battlefield,
Uh-huh.
it will still be a creature.
Mhm.
So the first line of text will still work. It will still get 5 slumber counters.
Uh-huh.
But as long as it has a slumber counter on it, it's a land.
Mhm.
Now that it
Now,
became a land, it's
I'm
going
gonna give
to
you a
become a
slight
mountain.
hint. I want to give you a slight hint. Be very careful. Be very specific on all the states of this land for the
Sure.
correct answer. The most technical answer, correct answer.
Okay. It comes in
So,
as a mountain
okay, so this
with
is
5
kind of a
slumber
hint.
counters on it.
With it, so it does come with counters on it.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
It comes in with 5 slumber counters on it, and it's a mountain.
Okay.
Period.
You were so close.
What's the answer?
It comes in tapped with 5 slumber counters on it, and it's a mountain.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like kind of super it's like kind of like against what you might think, because there was actually a recent rule change with Blood Moon. So before this rule change, things like Shockland, like Stomping Ground, Sacred Foundry, etc. If you played that into a Blood Moon, those lands when they came into play, they'd be mountains. But if you wanted them to come in untapped, you still had to pay 2 life. Otherwise, they come in tapped. But otherwise they were just regular mountains.
Yeah.
But that rule got changed so that now, if you currently, as of right now, if there's a Blood Moon out and you play like a Stomping Ground, it's just a mountain. You don't have to pay 2 life. It comes in untapped. You can't even. You're not even allowed to choose to pay 2 life. It's just a mountain. You can't pay 2 life anymore.
Uh-huh.
So
But this card doesn't come in as a land. It comes as a creature that puts
right,
slumber counters on itself, and it turns into a land when it does it.
right. So if you look at this and you had no knowledge of that rule change, you should and you kind of logically go through it line by line, you probably should arrive at the correct answer. But it's very easy if you're aware of that rule change and you try to think about it. There will you might come to that other conclusion. And the reason I say this is because we had an L2 that kind of when he tried to work through this card, he brought up layers. And
There's no layers. I
I
mean, there
know, but
is layers, but
he brought up rule 714.12. I'm like, okay, if someone's pulling up that rule with an exact rule number, they probably know what they're talking about. That's my assumption. 714.12. Okay, this is his logic. The answer that the L2 gave. This I respect for this L2. I think he's genuinely correct on most. I think he's the most skilled judge. Okay, so what he originally thought was that this land would come in untapped with no counters on it. That's what he thought. I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. And his logic was, according to rule 614.12, it says you're supposed to take the status of the permanent as it would exist on the battlefield, including its replacement effects and continuous effects. And our community was very divided on this. It took an official reply from Wizards of the Coast to clear it up. This is exactly what happens when that comes out, with Blood Moon out.
for L2.
Yep, poor L2. He worked it out. He launched it out. He cited a rule for his source, and he was just wrong.
Too bad.
Yep.
But you know what you can do though.
What?
I mean, don't play the card when there's a Blood Moon out.
Yeah.
I highly recommend against it.
Honestly, I'm expecting that kind of question to be on the next L2 edition of tests.
Okay.
Those are the exact type of questions that show up on that test. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously tricked an L2 into believing.
Have you seen the L2 practice test though?
I've taken it.
They're crazy hard, dude. I think I'm pretty good Magic player. I passed the L1 test, but it was easy. It was super easy.
Sure.
But the L2 test, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, same. A B C D A B C D A B C D, and I'll get a fourth of them right on average.